Thumbscrews and Legsrews were called entrance torture or mild torture. Thumbscrews. Thumbscrews were an iron device which a torturer applied to the second knuckle of the thumb and then tightened and released the screw to increase and then release the pain. Applying the thumbscrews was considered as the first degree of torture, while attacking with them was the highest grade. By hammering on the thumbscrews with a torture hammer, the pain for the victim was increased until he could not stand it any longer. Legsrews.
Crurum compressio, calige hispanice, pedice ferre.
Often they named the double Spanish footstrap, which was squeezing between tibia and fibula. The legs were free hanging and the pain was altered by tightening and releasing the device and hammering on the screws. The hanging stretch torture.
Tortuna funis vel corde, regina tormentorum.
Where the victim's hands were tied behind his back and he was then hung by them for hours, sometimes with weights attached to the legs. While hanging, he was doused with water and then left to freeze. Sometimes they released the tension of the rope and then, in a single swift pull, raised the victim up in the air again. The attack of the sulfur feather. Fire torture was a local specialty which varied depending on the region. Some used ignited sulfur strings or feathers that had been covered with sulfur. Others used pieces of wood covered in tar pitch and then ignited. Also, they used tar plasters which they glued on the victim's back. More intense degrees of the fire torture and of the pain included walking across a pit of glowing coal with bare feet, as well as covering the feet in oil or fat and burning them over open fire. The bug, with weights, whips and shaking. The Bamberg torture referred to the technique of putting the bound and gagged naked victim onto a wooden bug and whipping his back with a leather whip with sharp spikes until he confessed. Did he not confess on the first day, the torturers put a punishing cream on his skin and repeated the procedure the following day. The interrogation chair. In the Archbishopric of Würzburg, there were public chairs located in the marketplace. While the victim was interrogated in front of the people, the pain was increased by a burning bowl of coal placed under the victim's seat. The Bamberg Kneeler. The Bamberg Kneeler was a piece of wood covered with sharp spikes. The tortured person had to knee on this kneeler naked for hours and was beaten with whips and lashes. The Bamberg thirst torture was a porridge containing fish, salt, pepper and grain which the victim was forced to eat. Water was not supplied. Old Miss Schultheis from Zeil, she was forced to eat the fish porridge and soon afterwards she perished. A bath in hot slaked lime. This bath was also an invention of the Fox of Dornheim. The victim's skin was burned by the etching hot lime. These 5 people were bathed in the aforementioned hot lime and died. Furthermore, 1 woman was bathed and perished already in the tub. The folded chamber, called Linstenstüblein. This was a very small room without any chair or bed. The floor was covered with sharp wooden pyramids. The victims were caged naked in this room, no way to stand, sit, or sleep on this floor. This room was also known as the folded chamber.